opinion. You can't you can't be halfway, three quarters of the way. It's we've got to get to the source of the problem, and being mired in this left right paradigm is destructive in my opinion. So
Right. Well, we appreciate you joining. Feel free to hang around, or if you got to drop out. I know we have. I think know if people would get all on the same page, maybe I'll put it that way, fast enough. But every year that goes by, every time they do a new wave of gun confiscation, it just puts us in an even worse situation for standing up against any type of threat, be it foreign invasion or domestic tyranny. So I'm very concerned about it, and I'm glad that these people are standing up. And again, it's not like just isolated to Virginia. This isn't the first state. They are actively going through the country, trying to pass waves and waves and waves of crazy laws.
Well, and this is true to form. I mean, even Trump himself said he would rather, and he was referring to Hill, but he would rather grab guns and remove the person and then do due process later. And that's a scary notion when you see Virginians fighting against that very thing. I mean, I think the language in the law they propose, even teaching gun safety, even teaching how to use a gun could be seen as being terrorist in nature, and that to me is like, whoa, you a major line here.
Yeah. Well, just to clarify, I think, and I'm not defending the law, but I think what it said is if you're training for the possibility of civil unrest, which is a little bit better, but not much, because what does civil unrest mean? Isn't that why we practice guns or shooting? Because civil unrest.
But we have a few other people down there that are live streaming. They're not really right at the Capitol where they're getting jammed.
Right.
And that's why I brought Tim Truth up.
Your house against a gang of angry people, then the training.
But if y'all want to go directly to his channel,
gun or semi-automatic gun would.
It's exactly what it says. Tim Truth.
Yeah, it's even crazy.
I believe Chris Powers put the link in the chat.
Have we gotten in this country in the last year? You've got a slew of them in Chicago. You had the Houston raid that was a fuck up. Sorry, excuse my language. You have the Dallas-Fort Worth shooting.
I'm watching
that wasn't
Justice
a raid,
too. I got him on my
a law enforcement officer in someone's backyard.
Device.
Lady pulls a gun to defend herself. Cop shoots through the window and kills her. And you're like, this is happening all over the country now, and people aren't rising to the to the level of anger. I think that needs to be there.
There's no line in the sand, and a lot of people talk a big game, but they're not ready to go. And I'm not saying it's ever time. I'm not saying we need to, but that's why we need to get on the same page. But even trying to get on the same page is becoming illegal. They'll be like, "Oh, you're trying to incite violence. You're a domestic terrorist group. You're this. You're that." With the Patriot Act, we have sedition laws. We have all these things that prevent people from standing up to the United States government under the assumption that the United States government
Blind Justice
go wrong and never
or on my chat
stood up against. And I don't think that's the case. I think they're proving every passing month that they can do plenty of wrong, and they may very well need to be stood up to in the future. And I think someone could make the argument that they've already passed that point. And I don't really enjoy calling out the biggest empire in the world that could come and just call me a domestic terrorist, take away all my rights. But I mean, it's kind of the least I feel like I can do is call it out, because I don't own any guns. I'm not going to take arms. I'm not going to do anything drastic, but I just have a problem when they rig everything. They rig people, they take over the government, they take over the media, they write all the laws to protect what they've done. They're siphoning of public money to defend their own stolen property, and meanwhile everyone's like starving and can't scrape together enough to pay their rent and their light bill, and it's despicable what these people have done. And I just can't stand when people rewrite the laws to defend themselves. And
it's not like they're not going to have armed goons around them. You know what I mean? Like, they're okay taking your guns, but they're going to hire these state agents essentially to protect them wherever they go and whatever they do, because they know what they're doing is wrong. But we saw this play out in 1812 with France. So it's not like the.
Sorry about that. I got to do that again. I don't know why I just closed that out. Give me a second. That's done now. I'll get back in there.
Does feel like the criminals because it takes the onus off of them. It takes the responsibility and the pressure off of themselves, which is why they do it. But we need to just kind of look at each other and say, none of us are the criminals.
There.
We know who the criminals are. We need to, at the very least, take them out of office.
All back together.
Well, and here's my theory on taking them out of office. I mean, we've gotten to the point where we've seen videos of city councils out of control.
Open forum for anybody. Come in, post links,
and the state agents,
or just watch.
Really losing it on their constituents and not showing up to town halls, things like that.
Broadcast from Tim True, or go to Tim True's channel.
Yeah. Did you see that one?
As long as I can.
Oh, no problem, man. There was that one with, where was it? It was Illinois Senator Morrison. She came out and she said, somebody asked, like, how is it safer if we just register our rifles? I've owned it for years. Why is it not safe if I own it and not register it? But yet if I register it, it's safe.
I'm just
Because
gonna
that was
hide
the excuse
myself.
they're using. We need to make this country or this state safe. And first of all, I totally disagree with the guy because, I mean, I see his point, but I mean, he was trying to point out a contradiction in the logic of these
At least I thought it was.
these tyrants, at least in their proposed logic of like their sales pitch. But she said to him, real quick, I was going to say basically we should just put our foot down and say no infringements. We'll have whatever rights. We'll have whatever. Can you hit mute? We're getting some feedback.
Yeah, let me hit that. Hold on. Trying to hit mute.
There you go. I appreciate that. So basically, I think we should just resist any infringements on our
We got
right
good
to
audio
get-
in there.
right to free speech, right to redress our government's of grievances, our government of grievances, the right of the press, the right to freely practice our religion, and I'm thinking about the vaccines on that one. The Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms and form militias. But what she
Sup,
said to
Auto
him, I'll
John?
never forget. She says,
Broadcast
maybe
of the
we'll just
rally in
confiscate
Virginia.
them then. And it was just
Through
like
Tim
this
Truth, if
it
you're
was so
interested in
tyrannical. And
bypassing me, you can go straight to
It's
Tim
really
Truth.
crazy
We
how
also
they-
have Blind Justice out there
how they
who's
think that they're
live streaming.
gods or
As far
something,
as
they think
our
that they
people
can
that
just
are near the Capitol, they're all getting
take away
jammed.
people's livelihoods. And you also will see them laughing about suicides and stuff. They'll be like, "Oh, another white person committed suicide, ha ha ha." It's really sick. And
No problem, safety man. I'll see you.
I don't know. But I'm so happy to see all these people converging onto Richmond here today to stand up for their rights. And Coolidge asks, which streams are these? Well, we have this one here that's from Seb Green. He's doing a great job of combining a bunch of.
They're jamming their signals,
streams into
killing
one.
their live streams.
We also have Rupley.
Every time they
And
get
we
close to
have,
it, they lose their live stream.
We have We Are Change, and then this guy's on Facebook. not sure exactly who he is.
What? I know Vlogs is on there too.
High Impact Vlogs is on the mashup here,
He's
or he's live.
he's on the mashup. But he's live. He's there.
Great. Let me see if he's on.
It's not just we. It's us.
Do you think they're jamming? Like they're legit jamming?
It's definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility, but it's also a possibility that it's just like really widely attended. I mean, we have so many feeds coming through, I can't even fit them on the screen. Let's put this one up because I like the aerial shot here. I guess someone's using a drone anyway, which I'm all for. F their stupid rules.
Right.
Look at all those people.
That's crazy. I think people should use drones. I think, like look how quickly they cracked on drones with the Standing Rock issue.
Yeah.
Like right after Standing Rock, the drone use in this country was, like heavily targeted and regulated by the FAA.
Well, it scares the controllers that people can like fly stuff around.
Right.
It's like it's a threat to them because people can actually have tactical strikes and such. Not that I'm supporting that, I'm just calling it like I see it. But wow, there's a lot of people pushed right up against that gate there. Is that like the fencing they put up, I guess?
Yeah. And just a few days before, you had High Impact Vlogs.
Yeah, I hear you.
around
Central
that
Texas.
same area
There's nothing I can
with
do
nobody
about
there,
that.
and he
That's
was
on
trying to
Tim
ask
Truth's
the
channel.
law enforcement
I'm just
officers
mirroring
questions,
his
like, how can
because
you
he's
support this?
getting
how
everybody
can you go
that he
against the
possibly
Second-
can.
And they just kind of scoffed and laughed at him, something you said earlier, where government and public officials and pundits literally laugh at the poor and people who are trying to do this, trying to
Who's
protest,
running the
trying
drone?
to stand up for their rights.
Yeah, that was really
You
telling.
got to be
when he
careful
went
because they
and
just
he,
they claim that a
started
no-fly
asking them,
zone.
and I think it's a great tactic using the Socratic method on police officers.
Yeah, I
Asking
know.
things like,
I put that out there.
is your true
Or anybody
allegiance-
who's
is your true allegiance
closest to the
the
Capitol
Constitution,
loses
Bill of
their
Rights,
stream
or
real quick.
to, edicts passed down by state and federal legislators. And then you ask them, like, how do you justify depriving people of
Just
their
hopefully
rights?
they're
like
all
you're
doing static to protect
And you just
themselves
ask all these questions,
and have their GoPros on.
and like, how are you not breaking the Second Amendment? How are you not breaking the Fourth Amendment? So on and so forth. And then because even if they're not going to say anything that's really telling that you can. We're getting some feedback, man, or some sounds. They're not going to say anything that's really telling, but what it does is it forces these people who are holding important positions, it forces them to dig deep and try to come up with an answer. And I think that that's the best way for them to snap out of their trance and realize that maybe they're on the side of the people. And so that's why I think we should engage the police officers with our grievances.
Blind Justice has
Form of
backed up.
Socratic
He has
method,
Carolina
because it
auditor
makes
with
them
him.
dig within to look for an answer to pointed questions. And that's what High Impact Blogs did very well yesterday.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But the some of them get so high up in the chain of law enforcement, or they've been doing it so long that they have a narrative already written in their head that everyone's a criminal. I mean, just if you've ever seen their training, it's obnoxious where they literally they question everything everybody does, which is fine, But when it comes to average Joe citizen, 9 times out of 10, these people aren't committing crimes, but they will look for any infraction or every vehicle code that they could think of in order to, get the person out of their vehicle or to ID them. And you see it time and again where they fight for the almighty ID, and they will fight to get that, because to them it's you're acquiesced to their authority.
Exactly.
And You know, and it's so many, it's crazy. And I see Wilson in here. Why aren't we forming a militia? And I definitely have thoughts on that. We should have.
I would have challenged that decision, and if they denied me my firearm ID,
standing army per se,
and I have
you
no
know,
record,
to defend ourselves, so we don't get read
I
down by
challenge
our
it.
own government.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you brought up a great point about the police officer.
then I go over his head, over the local head, and go state.
Now in their mind. And that's exactly what it is. And they know every little trick of the book.
And really blow their mind and get a federal carry.
Law that they can throw on us. Oh, you're obstructing an investigation. Oh, you're what else is the other one? What you're wired.
Well, you did it through your local municipality, right?
All the time. Oh, you're violating HIPAA, like
right. Or the other one, like they'll come up with weird things like, oh, pedestrian in a streetway or something, or like you're what's the one? I smell marijuana. That's my probable cause. And it's just like,
if you did it through your local municipality, then I would probably suggest that you
it's crazy. It's
make an appointment with the city mayor.
The book at Citizens, they're like
because he's in charge of the local police department.
But as far as like protecting us from them, like the restrictions on police officers, they know nothing conveniently. They're like, oh, I'm ignorant to that.
You are moving?
I'm allowed to ask for ID.
I don't know what New Hampshire's gun laws are as far as
when I'm allowed to deprive people of their rights.
Carry.
Which is never.
I know you can
never
own
allowed to
long
deprive people
guns.
of rights. Even if there's a law that says that people can't have an automatic gun, that's still deprivation of rights. And if you enforce that law, if any police officers are listening, you
They're
are
not
breaking
protecting
the
us. They're
federal
trying
law.
to strip us so that they have total control.
Conspiracy against rights. And these are very severe punishment. They're very severe punishments for those crimes. And when politicians pass laws that ask the police to do it, they're committing treason, I would say, especially when it comes to taking away people's firearms. That's like a military action.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that.
Accountability chat is absolutely right. Don't forget that their mouths are moving.
Emma gets the press moved up there with all of his guns and his New York carry permit.
You and I, who have
they
been
still
watching
allow
these videos and know our rights and been standing on our rights for a long time, notice how quickly their BS starts to go. And other people, though, who are not as assertive, not as understanding in their state laws, will kind of fumble and make mistakes.
I myself,
it's
New
all
Hampshire,
about trying to assert your rights.
really not much up there. I mean, it depends on what you're
they
looking
always
for.
try and use, I smell weed, or
Colorado is
swerving
nice,
your lane, and I'm like,
but as you can
wait a
see
minute,
from
you were over the road.
Colorado
Like,
people,
what are you talking about?
they have issues.
Exactly.
A lot of them.
Yeah, it's insanity.
With
and a lot of times
political
you see them
values.
do what we should do. They'll just not talk. They'll be like, well, I'm not going to comment on hypotheticals. I'm not going to answer that question. And that's
myself,
pretty
I think I'm going to
It's
be
like they know, like
moving
you
to
mentioned
Ohio.
earlier, the police officers who have been there for a while are the worst. And I think it's because they see how the system operates. They see like what could be their downfalls, and it's not like a civilian having an issue with it. It's like standing up to your supervisor, or arresting a
My
bad
home
cop,
state right
fellow
now is
officer.
New York,
That's how
and
you-
that's
you
one
have
of the
a downfall
toughest
as a
states
police
out there on
Not
everything.
by not by harassing a citizen or refusing to answer valid questions. But I think we had a
Boy,
Truth
you're
Hurts.
right on that. Well,
Oh, go ahead, man.
Go ahead.
I was just going to welcome Truth Hurts. Oh, no, Truth Hurts dropped off. Go ahead.
More than FTP.
Well, what I was going to say is, how often do we see law enforcement agents that they
Not so
play the
much when it
game
comes to
so well
Constitution.
that,
A lot of the smaller municipalities
by their own agency
are 100%
so many
behind the
times, when the
Constitution.
public gets to look at their records,
It's the bigger municipalities
New
that
Jersey,
have
obviously,
issues.
had something like
Cincinnati,
50 complaints
Cleveland,
or something like that. And you're like, how is this dude so good?
Right.
Toledo.
Or the guys that they catch themselves on their own body camera planting evidence. And you're like,
Yeah, you're
what?
exactly right. New York is a big
You've
civil
done it
law
so
state.
often, so much that you were eventually caught on your own stupid body cam, and then now all of their cases go into question. You're like, how long have you been doing this? Is it days, months, years?
How many people
And then-
just took it and didn't complain? How many people have you actually inconvenienced if 50 people have taken the time out to go get a complaint form and put their name on it? And it's ridiculous because not many people will do that.
The hardest thing to do in this country is to sue a police department. I guarantee you, because I mean, I've been trying to sue the Coppersville Police Department and the city for almost a year.
No doubt about it, Omicron.
And I've been trying to get a lawyer. I don't.
Wish I had your personal number to call you, man.
I'm like, how is this not a clear violation?
You would have had a great time last night on
the Big Army not implicated in on this.
Salty Ranch channel when Felipe came in.
So it was like, what is going on here? How come I can't get a lawyer? And none of the lawyers in Texas have a spinal cord. They won't take it because they know it's not an easy case. They know it's not going to be something that's a guaranteed win. But, like every civil rights lawyer I tried to contact is just, amazingly busy at that time. And it's like, come on, you're not all busy.
Hey, Tim, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. How's it going?
Hey, good. Sorry, my voice was a little shot earlier. I just wanted to touch on the subject of peace and the attitude.
See, look at all them rings of death there
It's pretty
for anybody who's getting close to the Capitol.
Please.
Well, you're cutting in and out a bit. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of freaking out because somebody just banned like 50 people for no reason. I realized I modded up some asshole. But I'm going to try to go through while you're talking and fix everybody. We Are Change has a cop he's talking to that people want to hear. But I guess it's spinning its wheels. Go ahead while I unban these people.
No, that's fine. I can wait.
No, please go ahead. It'll allow me to hone in on getting.
Yeah, I don't think he would have left last night because he was trying to prove a point
just going to say that this
about
public
black law,
the
black law dictionary
with
some of the things that we were discussing, and trying to make it all about him
obviously,
instead of what we were discussing.
Documented that over the last several years. That
so I think you would have had a great time.
Have been going and training
burying
Israeli Defense Forces, which is basically an occupational force. So they're trained from the beginning to basically not respect the Constitution and treat the subject as guilty until proven innocent. It's a hostile posture. Granted, they have an incredible mess to sweep up with the condition that our country is in, but they have been also trained and conditioned to be on a hair trigger at a moment's notice. That virtually every encounter is a threat or potential threat, and that there's something fundamentally wrong with that. That's got to be changed, and I agree.
And I do appreciate everybody who's coming in.
Communication.
But as I said, Blind Justice is out there. He is live. He's got a good stream going on.
Get hot.
And Kim Truth
they're
here
not going to be in a good
is
situation.
doing the news broadcast of it. Also showing other people streaming. So if you get bored of my channel, you're more than welcome to head over to theirs. I do not feel no shame.
That's what I think. And
that's the reason why I'm doing
it. There are a lot of places
so that everybody knows what's going on.
But there's also a ton of times where they do the wrong thing, or they just follow orders.
Last knowledge, there's over 130,000 people over there in Richmond, Virginia.
How little we get from them, and how much they harass people.
I think what drives me nuts is like they literally
Tim Hill News
make fun of anyone who's like stands up for their rights or has a video camera. Oh, you're one of those that. Oh, you Texas Penal Code 3802. You're one of those guys. You a sovereign citizen. Like, nah, player, you're the sovereign citizen.
Right.
The law.
I definitely agree to that. No doubt.
Yeah, I think it came out in a case in New York that the police aren't legally obligated to protect you. Guy came onto a subway car and
That's not only New York, it's
stabbing
everywhere.
people, and there were 2 officers that went
Supreme
up
Court
into the
has
control,
ruled that the police are
the
not
cockpit of the subway or whatever you would call
responsible
it,
to protect
and
us.
stayed there until the attack was over. And in the court proceedings and documents that came out of that, it was shown that they're not
Yeah,
legally
Supreme Court.
obligated to protect human
think that's
life.
what I
I'm not
said.
saying that they
I don't know.
don't.
I get a little
But, from
anxious in my words sometimes when
my perspective, it
I get
just looks
anxious to
like
talk.
they're there to protect the interest of the state.
Or corporation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we
The rich
have a
people. They're there to protect the rich people on our dollar.
corporatocracy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
my dad was
David,
never a
we're getting lot
cop,
of feedback.
but he was a soldier
Can you turn down
for
your,
18 years.
speakers or mute between? Okay, there you go. Go ahead, Truth Hurts.
Yeah, the corporatocracy, whatever you'd like to call it. It's I don't really have anything other to add. I mean, the war on drugs, basically the war on liberty, 9/11, the Patriot Act, the National Defense Authorization Act has created a very serious
Who was that
atmosphere.
he
You know,
has?
last night you were talking about optics.
He is on the money.
I think it's interesting, that they've built this fence around the Capitol.
Yeah.
And they've disarmed, people that have gone into this,
Cage.
makeshift corral cage. And they,
How symbolic, right?
right, most likely have snipers,
Absolutely right.
aiming
I mean,
down at this group.
They have
of,
their obligations, but
it's-
they're not out there to
the
hurt
optics
people
are,
if not
pretty-
necessary.
pretty crazy.
Right. And then the media is like that. I love that Malcolm X quote. He says, if you're not careful, the
Only out there to
newspapers
do
will
one
have you
thing.
hating the people who are being oppressed,
Protect
and
themselves
loving the people doing the oppressing.
against foreign
And that's
entities
what
trying to
the
hurt
mainstream
them.
media is doing
and to
here.
protect
We see
our
the
country.
headlines they're running with, trying to paint the protesters as the evil people here. And it should be expected. We can't trust the mainstream media, but it just makes me sick to see people get slandered in the press.
Yeah, but
Why do you
kind
think the Afghanis was so successful? I mean, they had armed people pointing guns back, and I think that's
What was
why
that?
they were so successful.
But unfortunately,
Which one?
the CIA is a tricky little
Yeah.
part of that universe,
It
which
keeps
tricks
the
them
government
into
in check, at
doing
the very
things
least.
for
We don't
them.
even get to these confrontations when
and lets them fall and suffer the
when people
consequences.
are armed, because it's not in the government's best interest. They can't get their 10 soldiers to march along. If they're going to get shot at, it's a lot easier once you disarm the people or take them out one by one with a huge SWAT team for one house. They don't want the open battlefield kind of situation. And
Well, absolutely. That's why they jumped Lavoy Finicum on a drive up to a speaking engagement.
I think the National Defense Authorization Act basically declared the continental United States a battlefield, and that you
Blind
can be
Justice is
declared an
working his
enemy
way closer.
combatant.
We'll see if he loses his stream.
Even starting with the original Patriot Act, Section 802 of HR 3152 defines
believe he's walking down
terrorism
Grant
as
Street
any
right now.
act endangering human life or that is a violation of federal or state law, meaning I could be deemed a terrorist for, breaking common law. It's it's mind-boggling.
Good morning, Lincoln Cursor.
yeah, it's awful. And they did it under false pretenses, right? After 9/11, they said we need to defend the people against these terrorists who are going to fly more airplanes into buildings, and then but they said we'll never turn this on the American
Somebody's
people.
making a speech there. You should
And
put
then
him up.
they waited for people to forget that, and then they turned it on American people. It's disgusting. And these people had it all. They had it planned all along. They were probably in on, or their team, who they get their marching orders, was probably in on 9/11. And it's really sick when you think about the lengths they go through to convince people to do all the wrong things and to fall for all the
Yeah, he's
traps
starting to lose it right now.
and put themselves in boxes. And we have to really be
Blind Justice is
conscious
starting to get
to
the
not
circle of
just
death
pick, like,
right
the
now.
lesser of
And
two
he ain't even
evils,
halfway up the
because
block.
both of those evils, they don't care which one you pick. They might even be wanting you to pick the lesser of the two evils. Like, how easy would that be to rig things if you're like, okay, we want this guy to win, so let's bring make it him versus like some really terrible person. And then that'll really fool them, because then they'll all galvanize behind, say, Trump, and so they'll cheer on
Joe Cool's back up,
as he
though.
puts more shackles on them.
Right. Cheer the noose that's being lowered around our neck. That old saying, if I can make you believe absurdities, I can make you commit atrocities.
Right.
You know, you hear all the time, oh, well, at least he's not Hillary. And you know, the real
I
question
would
needs
believe
to be
that
asked,
if we didn't
how in
have
the
5
hell
or 6
did we get to the point
different server
320,
auditors,
340
Second Amendment
million
auditors
people in this country
that are right next to the
these two
Capitol
are the
that
are
were live and
supposed
lost
choices?
it instantly?
Right. It's all rigged. It's all rigged, and it's disgusting, and people don't notice it. People are like, they have the right so afraid of the Democrats because they're awful. I totally agree, they're awful, but it allows them to commit atrocities, like you just said, because people are so afraid by the Democrats that they'll line up and rally for just another flavor of authoritarianism.
I'm gonna switch over to Joe Cool.
I've been watching the quote ball be handed back and forth to the so-called Democrats and Republicans in these different cycles of 4 or 8 years, and they get the public so inflamed at one side. You know, at the end of Obama's term, it was like anybody but Obama, and before Obama it was anybody but Bush, I think
The March of Tyranny. Have you seen that cartoon?
I haven't, no.
Oh, it's great. It's the one with the all-seeing eye on the.
If anybody
pyramid
wants to, they can
marching
check
along.
out Joe
One
Cool's
leg
channel.
has,
He's getting
like,
up close and
red
personal.
It says Republicans. The other leg is blue and says Democrats, and it just switches, and it's stomping on people, and underneath each leg, they're like, next time I'll vote for the other party. It's great.
It's insanity. It's insanity. And, I voted for Trump. I like I told you.
Yeah, they were
in
already
previous
advised not to
conversations,
answer
I spent
questions.
time with Roger Stone.
They keep running a
Roger
no comment
Stone
or no
talked me
answer.
into,
They don't even answer. They just,
voting for Trump.
the real questions they do not want to
said that
answer.
He was
They're
going to
not
go
going
after
to.
9/11. He hasn't done any of that, and
Joe Cool.
He had freaking Rudy Giuliani as his personal attorney, who was knee deep in the complicity of 9/11. So I'm just not buying it anymore. I'm done.
Yeah, and I want to shout out some people in the chat. I'm modding people up a little bit cautiously because we've had a troll, and I'm sure he has other accounts. So I got to be careful that it was just like deleting.
Looks like he's at the bottom of Grant Street, which is below the Capitol.
Dig him out of the settings. But Volksfire brings up a good point. Volksfire. They said, I searched Richmond Live here on YouTube, and now YouTube has a pop-up info bar at the top from MSN saying, rally on MLK Day, and it's full of leftist bias. As if I asked for their input. Exactly, and I was showing that earlier, how they said, like, Virginia braces for armed militia taking down the Capitol. Or something.
I'm going to flip mine over to his right now.
And they're so
because he's really getting in deep.
Like there's that term in court, like leading the witness. These people are leading the viewer, leading the reader. It's ridiculous, and I hope people start seeing through it. I know a lot of people do, but I hope everybody starts seeing through it.
170-852 Richmond. I do not think this is legal tent.
My other device on Tim Truth.
But man, you're in the wrong spot if you don't like cameras, bro. You picked the wrong job. You picked the wrong job. And if you don't know how to interact with the public, you certainly picked the wrong job. All
We got
that
2 live right now on
shit,
Tim Truth's
that's
channel that are
bullshit,
right
bro.
at the Capitol
It ain't a lot
steps.
of brothers out here.
And he's not playing their
What is
audio.
you doing? Be kind. I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm talking to him. Be kind. Be courteous, bro.
That's a real thing, brother.
Yes. What are you doing? I can't rap with him. My voice too loud for you? Why the fuck are you interrupting while I'm talking to him anyway? You protecting him? He needs you? The fuck is you doing? And you, bro, you setting examples, motherfucker, with that hide from the camera shit. Nigga, we live under cameras.
Especially right now.
Yeah, especially right now.
I think the unfortunate part, Joe, is this. Is that today these gentlemen are in a position where they are forced to enforce policy
As
over
opposed
state
to
statute
statutes
the
and laws.
Constitution of America. And they've taken the Constitution
Yes.
and ultimately, by showing up and participating in this activity, have shit all over the Constitution.
Since you want to rap, bro, how you feel about motherfuckers taking these guns? How do you feel about motherfuckers restricting our rights to walk on the Capitol today when we could do it a week ago? Now the laws have been changed. They're restricting our ability to carry guns every day. You got an opinion on that?
Nope.
My man.
But see, that's the problem.
You
That's the problem, though. Right?
He clamped shut on that question.
You swore an oath, right? That oath that you swore, ultimately, you promised not only to abide by the Constitution and protect it, but you swore to do that to the best of your ability, right? But what you're doing right here today, even though I know you're doing your job, I get that, man. But
Ask him if he agrees to that.
You are shitting on the Constitution.
It's part of your job.
I can't do that.
Enforce the policy, right? Whether it's a Terry stop, whether it's pulling a passenger outside of the vehicle to enforce the authority on that, you are breaking a constitution at that point, okay? And you are also breaking the oath that you took to uphold it, along with doing your best ability. It's vicious. I mean, that's got to sit on your conscience a little bit.
It better sit on that tonight after tonight and think of what brought all
Alright,
these
he's
people
done that
out here,
static,
bro.
so we're watching
You
this
are the
replay of
arm
static.
they sent out here to enforce these bullshit policies. You're just doing your job, but you are the arm that's sent out here to enforce those bullshit policies, man. And they go against the oath that you swore. Ain't nothing right with what you're doing from 9 to 5.
You gentlemen serve in the military? Yeah?
Opinions.
I'd like to thank you for your service. And I would say you just took that service.
And you fucking shitting on it, baby.
Shitting on the years service, the members of the military serve. You're shitting all over the Constitution. You're shitting on the citizens. And you're sitting in your vehicle like a fucking tyrant, acting like you don't like the goddamn camera.
For a fucking paycheck, I'm just doing my job. That
Welcome
shit.
to America, gentlemen.
Welcome to
Pretty
America,
soon,
baby.
We're gonna be in a situation where my daughter ain't gonna have any fucking rights by the time she's 18. Why?
Right?
Y'all won't do the job.
No doubt.
One at a time.
Don't fuck with that guy. Who's one? The governor.
Yeah, is he under the room?
Am I gonna get up in there?
Oh, well, fuck that. We don't want to fuck with the cops then. Fuck what you talking about.
I'm pretty fucking aware. Right now, what we have is a gentleman that tries to block the camera. Okay? He starts to do the camera.
And then this prick, when I address him, this prick gets in his way.
This dude wants to step up and interfere.
Then when I ask him for his opinion, he doesn't have one.
Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is?
The fucking camera, dude.
Amen. But it's also a fucking gateway to your First Amendment right. And see that dude right there? He's shitting all over that too.
He's just standing there, dude.
He's trying to media
he's
block him.
sitting on it from 9 to 5.
It's his job to put up my shit today, bro.
Exactly, from 9 to 5. If his job say do something shitty, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, it's good, bro. If you want to bootlick, you can bootlick anytime.
Yes, yes, yes.
If you down with the bootlicking, you're shitting on the fucking
Saying
Constitution
you're being
too.
a dick.
Yeah,
Uh,
I like it.
That's all? Does this dick have a point though?
Go protest.
No, we're protesting here.
Go vote for Hillary, bro. Yo, go.
We're protesting here. Is that all right with you? You talking about go protest there? We're protesting here.
You're just being a dick, dude.
No, you got an eye business, bro. You've been a dick. You got an eye business.
I think he's just got dick envy,
We
bro.
dick envy. We was rapping with that cat. You inserted yourself. Who's the dick? You. We was trying to rap with this cat, bro. Protect him. This nigga got guns, tasers, and homies. Who are you protecting? Nothing. You just just showing you like to suck up to these niggas, man. Fuck these niggas. And fuck a bootlicker. Fuck a nigga who follow these niggas. These the guys that's gonna come take your guns. They look like this cat. The nigga that's riding with you looks like me.
Y'all gotta swallow that ego right now. Because you know you're wrong.
Have a good day. I hope it gets harder from here on out. I'm gonna go eat. I'll be back to give you a shit time, baby. And you, blow me, nigga.
Awesome shit. All right. Thank you for that, Joe.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we
No,
sort out
not
who,
Audit the
what,
Audit,
and
sorry.
the right and wrong of police interactions. Today's video.
Where are we at? Looks like Blind Justice came back up. Joe Cool.
Thank you all for being here today, and
there we go. Got a
especially
speech.
to those of you from out of state for traveling here to stand with us, Virginians, under less than ideal circumstances. What we are witnessing today is a travesty. It is shameful what Lord Northam has done. Does Virginia need more gun control?
No.
Let them hear you in the legislative building. Do we need more gun control?
No.
Lord Northam has, without authority, violated the constitutions of Virginia, of the United States. He has violated the law of Virginia by disarming law-abiding citizens during a contrived state of emergency.
Right.
What Northam has done is completely lawless. That's why GOA and VCDL took him to court this past week to challenge his gun ban. Sadly, the first judge completely ignored state law. The law expressly prohibits the governor from infringing upon Second Amendment rights during a declared emergency. But you want to know something interesting? Guess who voted for that law? Guess who, when he was in the state Senate, voted to prevent future governors from denying gun owners' rights during declared emergencies? Ralph Blackface Northam. In other words, do as I say, not as I do. You see, this isn't about authority, folks. Democrats in this state are exercising sheer, unadulterated power without authority. So GOA and VCDL, we appealed our case to the Virginia Supreme Court on Friday, but the court punted. They never actually ruled that the governor's order was lawful. Instead, they used a procedural tactic to leave the gun ban in place for today. So if you're inside the fence, here we are. We've been subjected to an egregious disarmament, just as was done by General Gage to our founding fathers in 1774. Virginia's Royal Lord Dunmore did the same thing in 1775, when under the cover of night, he raided the Colonial magazine.
Right.
Democrats like Northam are following in their footsteps today, and they're copying the pattern of Democrats of old. The very ones who told Martin Luther King Jr. that he wasn't good enough to carry a gun. He couldn't be trusted. Democrats denied his application for a carry permit in 1956. And they're still trying to deny our gun rights today. As we stand here today, on a day that honors King, I have one simple message. No one who is listening to my voice right now should ever again vote for the party of gun control. Never.
I'm talking about the party of Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and yes, Lord Northam. Their party is anti-right. It's anti-gun. Their party has declared war on the Second Amendment. And whenever they gain power, they set out to ban people's guns. No gun owner should ever help them get a majority at the state or federal level. And let me give you a word of encouragement. If you have not been voting, please make sure that you are registered to vote. I'm not going to embarrass anybody. Ask for a show of hands as to who has and who hasn't been voting. But if you're not registered, please get registered to vote. Get your adult children registered, your pro-gun friends.
If I go full screen, I lose the audio. I don't know how to bring it up any bigger than what it is.
Make a difference. It's by replacing these lawbreakers. We need to throw the bums out. We need to clean house in the next election. You know, I mentioned what our founding fathers went through. There is a lot that we can learn from them because they were not strangers to oppression. On this day, 242 years ago, do you know where Virginian George Washington was? He and his men were freezing their butts off at Valley Forge. Men were dying. You think it's cold here? They were dying from exposure, influenza, pneumonia. Almost 2,000 of his troops died during that stay at Valley Forge. So how did that ragtag group win against a better funded, well-rested enemy? Let me tell you, one of my favorite portraits of all time is hanging in my office right now. It's a portrait of George Washington in the snow at Valley Forge next to his horse, praying. I'm sure many of you have seen that picture. And yes, I'm sure it's embellished somewhat, just like many other pictures from that time period. But many of the people who knew Washington said that was the kind of man that he was. He was a man of prayer. And that's why I like that portrait. It's a reminder to me of where the real battle is won. And George Washington knew this. And so did our other founding fathers. Listen to the words of Thomas Jefferson, another Virginian, penned in the Declaration of Independence. He said that in the midst of the war that they were fighting, that they were appealing to the supreme judge of the world to give them the help that they needed. The supreme judge of the world? Look, folks, they weren't talking about the United Nations.
1 hour and 12 minutes. The vote will commence.
Those are the words that every founding father signed his name to in agreement. And for us, we would do well to remember their example. But you know who else should remember their example? Lord Northam. He doesn't recognize the God-given rights that are spoken of in the Declaration of Independence. He thinks our rights are mere privileges. He wants to take your gun rights away, but let me ask you again, does Virginia need more gun control? No! How will disarming you and me lower the crime rate? That's the question he can never answer, nor can he tell us how any of the new laws that he's advocating would have stopped the tragedy in Virginia Beach last year. He can't answer that question either.
I have to say, shout out to the person who brought a drone, despite the edicts of the tyrants. It's given some awesome footage down there.
About how we really stop a bad guy with a gun. Because it's not gun control. Gun control.
He is. Hopefully you don't get caught because they put out a no-fly zone in that area.
A good guy with a gun does. And he's going to speak to you in just a second. But let me say this. The passion and the activism that's here today, it has to be a way of life. We have to stay vigilant. We have to pray. We have to vote, or we are going to lose our rights. The governor may think that he has won the day today, but he has only strengthened our resolve. As John Paul Jones said, when all hope seemed lost, and the British commander ordered him to surrender the ship, he said, I have not yet begun to fight. Everyone, this here is a start. It is not the finish line. we will not compromise. Thank you for being here today.
Amen.
Thank you, Eric. The next person, a plumber by trade, saved countless lives at a mass shooting at a Texas church in Sutherland Springs in 2017.
Oh yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
For his own safety, he grabbed an AR-15 and ran barefoot towards the sound of gunfire. He didn't run away from it, he ran towards it. Coming from the gunfire coming from a church, and he engaged in a gunfight with a mass murderer. The murderer lost. Let's have a round of applause for Stephen Williford.
Thank you very much. I just want to say I'm going to go a little bit off the script here, and I'm going to tell you that this is more scary than facing someone shooting at you. I'm from Sutherland Springs. My community is under 600 people, and on November 5th, 2017, evil came into our church and started killing my neighbors. I grabbed my AR-15, the same kind of rifle that these politicians are trying to ban today. And I ran across the street. I confronted him in gunfire. He hit the truck in front of me, the car behind me, and the house behind me. And I hit him. Had I had anything other than an AR-15, I probably would have been among the casualties. He had on Class 3 body armor. Now that you know a little bit about me, I want to talk about who you are as Virginians. Virginia is the state, the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence, the state instrumental in designing the Constitution of the United States, one of the greatest documents ever written. Virginia, where founding fathers like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison crafted the Bill of Rights. These rights are protections from the very government that sits in this Capitol building and tries to strip them from you. These rights were given to you by God, not by them. Thomas Jefferson wrote himself, the Constitution of most of the states assess that all power is inherent in the people, that it is their right and duty. Get that? Duty.
Erlin's so badass, he doesn't
to
even
be armed at all times.
Hey, you catch that?
This freedom has been fought for and proclaimed in your streets, your cities, and your countryside. The blood of American patriots has been spilled here for that freedom.
Sorry, y'all, if you
Freedom
have
for
trouble
tyranny,
hearing it. It's not my volume. It
freedom
says.
for a government that ignores the voices of its people. Now all of America's eyes are on you, Virginia, wondering whether you will let your rights be encroached upon. This is not just a Virginia problem. We've dealt with governments trying to disarm us before. In 1775, hundreds of British troops marched on Lexington and Concord to confiscate a cache of weapons, knowing that if they could disarm us, they could control us. They were met by over 2,000 Minutemen, farmers, trade owners, and shop owners. Together, these men drove back the British, and they kept their arms and their rights to bear them. This launched a war that would give birth to the greatest nation this world has ever known.
Got him going.
Less than 100 years later, in 1835, the Mexican military controlled by Santa Anna.
Wow, look at these crowds in this small shot bottom right.
When they arrived to seize the weapons, they were met with a flag bearing the sign of a cannon and the words, "Come and take it." The Mexican soldiers were met with a hastily formed militia of Texans, and they were repelled. Gonzales kept its cannon. And the Texans, with volunteers of other states, including Virginia, won their independence, became a republic, and joined the United States.
Sorry for that extra guy
Right.
talking.
From the Civil War
That I just did.
to World War.
Oh, he killed our audio. No way. I'll tell you, if nobody was educated there, they are now. He lost his signal. Dang it. And I got nobody else live on my subs.
Desert Storm
Keep me out here.
and present conflict.
You know, it's
Brave Desert Storm
keep me out here.
and present conflict.
You know, it's
Brave
really
men
a
and
lot of
women
signs out here.
have fought and
You know,
died
street fair
and answered
selling,
the call
Street
for
vendors
freedom.
out here selling a bunch of stuff.
We've fought these battles before. Now, instead of sending an army,
call petitions.
the government played away your rights.
Um,
We will not stand for it.
see
Played
this out
away
here
your
every
rights.
day.
We will not stand for it.
Yeah.
This time, with the wars of
Appreciate all the
past
likes and shares. Everyone
behind us,
for watching.
let us use our voices to proclaim freedom loudly.
Well, he's nowhere near there, so he's just having internet problems. Hopefully, it gets fixed. His modem's probably overheating. I don't think it's me. What's going on here, man? Oh, I'm getting interference with a different Wi-Fi connection. I believe I got it back. Yeah, it's on his end. Morning, Pug Face. I don't have anybody else live down there. Everybody has lost their connection. You all want to pick up on this and try them again in a few minutes? The channel that I'm mirroring here is Tim Truth. Spelled just the way it sounds. Check him out. Sub him. He does a lot of good work like this for all types of situations, not only the Second Amendment. He does it for the First Amendment. He does it for, bad cops, everything. So I'm gonna cut my stream because I'm about to get ready to roll on here. They're done unloading me. I'm just waiting for my paperwork. And I hope you all have a blessed day, and prayers that Virginia does not get this bill passed. Keep our Second Amendment strong. I love you all. Thank you for coming in.